Alright, so today I wanted to go ahead and talk about Mortal Kombat 1 and really just all the issues and the problems or things that happened along the way to make us end up in the state that we are now with the game, because it's very saddening for me. And obviously I've been here since before the game even was announced, you know, talking about Mortal Kombat 12. Like, there's videos on my channel that are private now, but talking about like what will Mortal Kombat 12 be like, etc, etc, because, you know, my dream was to be a content creator for Mortal Kombat, and so I knew that no matter what, when the next MK game came out, I was going to cover that game. And here we are now, not even 2 years into the game's life cycle, and people say that the game is completely dead. And I mean, I'm not saying only people say, I mean, look at the numbers. Like, the game isn't doing the best. So let's go ahead and talk about this. I didn't know how to like start with this, because I was going to make a video like this after Khaos Reigns released because of my emotions from Khaos Reigns, and I just wasn't sure how to frame it, so we're doing this like months later. But let's start with Khaos Reigns, because I think that that is a big, you know, turning point for the game's health, even though the game wasn't doing like splendid before that time. So Mortal Kombat 1 Khaos Reigns. Now, I would say that Mortal Kombat 1 was in a rocky period already at the time that Khaos Reigns came out. And so when you're releasing a big expansion to your game for the first year anniversary, really, like that's what it was, the first year anniversary of this game, people are expecting a story expansion and a DLC pack to breathe life back into the game, especially at the time of its release where the game was not doing too hot. And the question that a lot of people ask is, did Khaos Reigns kill MK1? And I would say, like, to an extent, yes. And let's talk about those things. I feel like I offer a different perspective than the normal, like, standard Mortal Kombat player, because I'm not here for like a gameplay hardcore experience solely, and I never was. I got into Mortal Kombat and fell in love with it growing up because of the story and the characters, which is arguably what Khaos Reigns does the worst. Khaos Reigns, for casual fans and for hardcore Mortal Kombat fans, it didn't strike the right spot for any of us, I don't think. Let's go down with the gameplay issues first, because again, I don't think those are like as important to me, but they do attribute to the issues Mortal Kombat 1 has. So DLC characters, we got Noob Saibot, Cyrax, and Sektor, gender swapped by the way, and Conan the Barbarian, T1000, and who even is the other one? Ghostface. Yes, Ghostface is like the saving grace of the DLC guest characters in this pack. And Ghostface, when he did release, did breathe a lot of new life into the game and made it very exciting. It's just very unfortunate that closely after his release, we got this leak from Fate Unknown, very credible leaker, that the game was not going to be supported anymore due to Khaos Reigns sales. So why did Khaos Reigns sell poorly? Well, for one, it isn't like a normal pack they would normally do. In a game where they are priding themselves on a new gameplay mechanic with cameo fighters, it's a combat pack, DLC pack of characters that didn't include a single assist cameo fighter. What are you doing, right? Like, what does that even mean? Like, what, like, you do you take us for fools? Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's insane. And I think that a lot of, like, gosh, I can't even speak. There's so many things to say. I think a lot of these issues have to do with WB and their, like, rules, I guess you could say, or, like, where they want things to release, what they want to happen. That cuts the time for NetherRealm to make these things. But that doesn't excuse the content of the game itself that is, like, actually given to us. Because regardless of it not meeting a certain standard in terms of quality, it's actually, like, what they did make is still not that good. You know what I mean? So again, going back to the characters, DLC guest characters always bring new people into Mortal Kombat games, NRS MK games, right? Like Omni-Man, Homelander, Ghostface. Like, these characters bring huge droves of players into this game through memes, through people who are fans of that source material finally playing Mortal Kombat because of it, a lot of things like that. And so when you have characters like Conan the Barbarian and T1000, you know, like, yeah, you're going to maybe cater to older, like, boomer fans, and that's not a bad thing if you're like an older player of Mortal Kombat, of course not. Like, you know, Mortal Kombat's been around for a long time, but it really just feels like these are characters that either they really wanted in the game and they didn't really care about the fans' thoughts with it, because I mean, who wanted these characters? Or they had easy layups with like rights and didn't have to pay much for the licenses, which is probably, you know, another very plausible option. But that's only the guest characters. I think Ghostface was a hit. I think he's a very, like, you know, people have wanted Ghostface in Mortal Kombat since like the MKX days, or even the Freddy Krueger and MK9 days. Like, people have wanted Ghostface in this game, and so I think that was a W. The other two characters though, trying to fit with like an old movie theme, I don't know if Warner Bros just thought that was an easy layup for rights and licenses, like I said, but who knows? I think it wasn't the smartest decision. It's definitely not as smart as Omni-Man, Homelander, and Peacemaker, even though I don't think Peacemaker is even that big of a good choice, but he did really well for the game, so maybe I'm wrong, you know, I'm just not a fan. But Omni-Man, Homelander, these are relevant recent guests within the modern day that are going to bring a lot of people to your game, and they did. So now let's talk about the Mortal Kombat characters and the story expansion. So like I was saying, this isn't a pack NetherRealm would normally do. They didn't drop a combat pack with individual characters for you to buy, and then the story expansion as a separate pack. No, nada, zilch, zero, finito, no, you're not getting that. You have to buy the entire thing with the story expansion and the characters if you want to enjoy Chaos Reigns in any capacity. Thankfully, Animalities were a free update to the game, and you didn't have to pay for that too, because if that was also part of that, oh my god, we would be in a horrible state, which we already are, but we would be in an even worse state. But basically, they already are deterring people from paying this huge $50 price tag for this pack. They can't even buy separately. They can't buy the story separately from the characters. They can't buy the MK characters separately. At least they couldn't at launch. Now they're trying to release them separately, like individually, but you couldn't do that. Like, you just couldn't. And it's greed, and that's a WB, I would say. Like, that's definitely a WB issue, but still, it's an issue nonetheless. Okay, but sorry, I'm all over the place. I will try and timestamp this the best I can, but let's talk about the Mortal Kombat characters. So, Noob Saibot. As a first story expansion in your game where, you know, you're introducing a new era with new characters, like, this isn't like we had the same Bihan from all these other games. This is a new Bihan, and you're already killing him and making him Noob Saibot. I think that was an interesting decision from the start. I'm not sure if that was the best. And then you have another very glaring issue, which I'm not going to say objective issue because it's really up to your interpretation, but Cyrax and Sektor being gender swapped. I want to talk about this, and I wanted to talk about this since Chaos Reigns launched, and I think I was kind of duped. I guess, like, duped. I'm not trying to say that it's their fault entirely, but, you know, giving this game the benefit of the doubt the way I have the entire time I've covered this game made me defend the choice to gender swap these characters, assuming that they didn't do so for a bad reason. I assumed that it was a new era change they genuinely wanted to see through and they had good ideas for. And I was wrong. You know, because a lot of people in this community, when they saw this change, it really just became like, who is the biggest misogynist? Like, it was insane. Like, the community was in shambles. Like, you saw so many fucking racists and misogynists coming out of the shadows to talk about, like, Cyrax alone. That's not even talking about Sektor, who's also gender swapped. Anyway, so I felt inclined to defend this change and hope for the best with the game. Now, this is where I have to talk about the story, and so let's talk about Chaos Reigns' story and how that also harms this, besides the characters being what they are anyway. Yikes. Dominic is a curse to this game, the writer of Mortal Kombat 1. With Chaos Reigns literally lost all creative direction. There is no narrative to the story expansion. There is no, like, overarching message. There is no nothing. This is literally just a hollow, like, I don't even know what you call it. Like, a kid wrote this. Like, I don't know what this is. I don't know. I don't get it. Cyrax and Sektor were only gender swapped to make Scorpion and Sub-Zero be straight, I guess. Like, it's absurd. Like, I was defending their choices because of misogyny within the community, and the real misogynists ended up being the people writing the story mode. And I'm not trying to get too much into semantics here and talk about, like, my, you know, genuine, like, distaste with these things, but, like, I try to take it objectively. But, like, literally, guys, Sektor's whole role outside of being swapped with, like, original Bihan is to be Bihan's little girly. And Sektor was a man before this, guys. He was a man. And he was part of the Lin Kuei already. Like, he was an established character. They brought him back as a girl, and she's only a girl to be Bihan's lover. If that's not misogynist, I don't know what is. Like, if that's not, like, you know, materialization of women characters, and, like, what do you call that word where you're, like, you treat it for material value instead of, you know, giving it actual genuine care and love. Like, that's what they did to Sektor and Cyrax for that matter. I would say that Cyrax has a much better arc, but Cyrax was only gender swapped as well, so they could be like, oh yeah, you know, she fucked around with Kuai Liang. There's a little bit of drama here with him and Cyrax and Harumi, who's not even his girlfriend to start with because the Hanzo changes. Like, God, it's a bucket of... It never ends. Mortal Kombat 1 problems never end. I hope that made sense. Like, for those that didn't play Chaos Reigns, basically, they gender swap these characters just so that they can make them have relationships or past relationships in the case of Kuai and Cyrax to make them be straight. That was pretty much it. Like, they could have brought them back as men and they would have not done what they did. If they brought them back as men, as they were, like, intended to be originally, they would not have been written the way they were to have romances with Scorpion and Sub-Zero. It wouldn't have happened. It wouldn't have happened. Homophobia. Like, it wouldn't have happened. Like, it wouldn't. I hate those tactics. I think that's gross. And I think that it's so disingenuous, not only for creating actual characters with actual value to them, but also to your fans. Because, like, who is the target audience of this? Who is the target audience of this? Like, who are you making this for? I just, that part definitely, like, that part, like, I don't mean to sound like Jeffree Star, but goddamn, that part. Like, oh my god, like, that is horrible. And I think, like, that's part of the story, you know? So this story mode, this expansion, is only 5 chapters, and you make us fight a Titan level threat. He's, like, completely erased and Bihan doesn't get any like conclusive ending. God, like, oh my god. Like, I don't know why they love Bihan so much and the Lin Kuei so much, yet they hate them so badly. They swear they love them so much where they want to make them the core focus of like Chaos Reigns and like really all they care about, but then they want to write them like complete dog shit. They don't care. And Chaos Reigns is literally just that all blended up into slop and then sold for $50. $50? Like, guys, I bought this game day one. Tiny little lore, I'll say this as quickly as I can. I bought the game for $300 to get the collector's edition. They weren't gonna ship it to me till like a week after the game came out. And like $40 of that price tag is paying for early access. So like, what the hell? What is that about? And then I had to like refund that, then buy the game for 110 digitally, and then the game's on sale a few months later for half the price. And then you sell this story expansion for the price of a full game. And now it's all they post about nowadays is just how it's on sale. They don't care about us. They don't care about the people that buy it day one. They don't. They just don't. Like, I'm not buying MK2 day one unless I'm like still doing content. I'm not buying that shit day one. So with that in mind, story, very bad, very shallow. There's some things I really did enjoy. I loved seeing Empress Melina. I loved seeing Noob Saibot, even though he was different. I loved seeing Noob Saibot. I loved Havoc, even though it wasn't Havoc. They literally wrote Havoc because it's a free layup, and they thought that they could just completely mischaracterize him and people would be okay with it. That's not Havoc. Like, that isn't what Havoc always was, but you know, Dominic doesn't know Mortal Kombat. He doesn't. So we got what we got. And cyrax and Sektor were gender swapped solely because they can make women characters have less value because they're women, I guess. I don't know. I think there's like a statistic out there someone showed me on Twitter. Shout out to whoever this was. I don't remember, but the like demographic of men to women in NetherRealm Studios is like 95-5 or something. Like 95-5. That studio probably smells. Like, goddamn. Joking, but still. So Chaos Reigns, big fumble. People don't want to pay that price tag. People want to be able to buy the combat pack separately. People don't even want to buy the combat pack if they're not a fan of the gender swapped characters, and if they're not a fan of not having cameo fighters. There's no cameo fighters in this pack. And then they have to buy the story with it, which is probably like a bonus if it was priced properly. We just get the story expansion as well. People would probably be happy with that. But they're not now because the story expansion was hot shit, garbage, trash. So no one cares. They also let all these characters that they established in the part one of the story like be on the back burner where they only focus on the Lin Kuei like I was saying, and it wasn't even that good. Like, if you're going to solo out these characters to focus on them, why not like actually do well with that then? Like, you're making it easier for you and then making it harder for yourself afterwards. Like, it makes no sense. Makes no sense. I don't like it. That's Chaos Reigns, right? And then Chaos Reigns didn't sell well, apparently, according to Fate Unknown, which is the leaker, the very credible leaker that said that the game is not getting supported anymore because WB cut it off because of Chaos Reigns sales. And so why was that? Again, characters not being able to be sold separately, DLC characters not being great, and the story expansion being hot garbage. Okay, there we go. Now let's go ahead and do a big loop around to Mortal Kombat 1 in general. Can we talk about this? I'm going to timestamp this here, but people always say this as like a cope thing where they're like, well, the game was supposed to be Injustice 3, I think, you know, like I'm pretty sure, like, you know, like, I got you guys, like, I think it's supposed to be Injustice 3, I got you. Like, guys, why are we acting like this wasn't confirmed? Unless the Mary Jane has really burned my brain and I'm just an idiot, I have vivid memory of watching an Ed Boon interview and probably making a video on it. If you go back in my channel, I'm sure I made a video on it talking about Ed Boon's interview where he said the game was Injustice 3. Like, he confirmed it. I don't know why people act like this wasn't confirmed. This game was Injustice 3. Ed Boon was like, hey, if we don't make Mortal Kombat now, we will go like years without the next Mortal Kombat game, and we cannot afford that. That's what he said anyway. Maybe WB was the real people that couldn't afford that. Like, I don't even know. But I know that Ed Boon said something like that on Unreal Engine 4, not even Unreal Engine 5. God, these prehistoric developers. Like, God, why are these boomers making Mortal Kombat? I want Ed Boon there. Can we get a few of these boomers in there? Like, keep those boomers, take out the bad boomers. We don't want them. We don't need them. They're making bad product. Anyway, WB and their, you know, very scummy tactics and them literally bleeding money from every project they do because they have no brain. They're absolute idiots. WB is the worst company on this planet, in my genuine opinion. They forced MK1 out very, very early. The game launched with no lobbies. The game launched with horrible bugs. The game launched in a state it shouldn't have. Like, the game should not have launched the way it did. I wish that they held the game until like Ermac patch. I think it, like around Ermac patch, which is more so this year, which if we're talking about this year with Mortal Kombat 1, we had, of course, Ermac patch, Takeda, then we started with Chaos Reigns and all of that kind of stuff. The cameo fighters, of course, coming as well. Homelander Farah, all that kind of stuff. That stuff, I feel like the game was getting good and getting more promising with each update. I thought the game was like doing good things, but again, no lobbies, criminal. No, like, Towers of Time didn't come until year one. Towers of Time, the only game mode that is actually decent content right now outside of Invasions, which they already ended, which we'll get to that soon, but like Towers of Time, the only actual decent content that has a decent reward in the game didn't come until a year in. So for a full year, The game was like, we were in the trenches. We were not doing good. And especially with the way that the like DLC characters were being released, like the game was going like, it was like kind of exciting time, dead period forever. Kind of exciting time, dead period forever. And then also the lack of updates, like there's a shrine. There's no crypt in MK1. Like, well, that's another huge issue. There's no crypt. So the unlockable system that isn't invasions where you just get like pallets and stuff is the shrine where you use your coins. And guess what, guys? They don't update that shit. They turned MK1 into this seasonal live service game, but then they don't treat it like a live service game, so it's dead 75% of the year. Because you can't make a live service system for a game and then not update the game like a live service, because you know what happens? It dies. The community doesn't care. There's no content. There's no fun to be had on the game. There is no good endgame content for this game. Again, until Towers of Time came out, which is like infinite grind, you can actually play that. Invasions was beatable every season. You could just beat it and be done with it. Combat League is like garbage, like no one wants to play that shit. I mean, I like playing Combat League, but I just mean in terms of casual players that would just want to play the game. Like MK11 has a lot more content than MK1 does now even, especially compared to when it first launched. This game was like dry. This game was dry. It's always been dry. And then also the interest of MK1, like again, I went into this game, I'm going to cover this game regardless. I want to be all up in the story. I want to be all up in the gameplay. It was the first game I took seriously in terms of gameplay. And regardless, I wanted to talk about the story mode because the characters and the story of MK is the thing I always like. Now we have to keep in mind, MK1 is a reboot. They rebooted the story from MK11 to this game. So there's a few things you have to do to make people still stay interested, like keep the identity of Mortal Kombat, which a lot of people say this game didn't do. And I would agree that they did change the identity of Mortal Kombat 1, or of Mortal Kombat, excuse me, in this game. But like, I was expecting them to because it was a reboot. I found a lot of pleasure and like joy in the first story mode. In my genuine opinion, the first story mode outside of the Titan Havoc post-credit scene is kind of good. Like I would say it's really good to me. Maybe not objectively really good, but to me, it's really good. I love the characters. I think that if they did want to go back to MK11 and like solve the Shang Tsung Liu Kang issue, they kind of did it in a good way by mirroring like the 3D era and all of that. Like they had good ideas here that had a good, satisfying story for me anyway. But then you get to Titan Havoc, and that ruined it. Like that like completely ruined it. Like even from the start, when people saw the Titan Havoc post-credit, they were like, what the hell is that? Like, what is that? You know, like, you get off my screen, you know what I mean? Because it ruins it. The timeline thing ruins it. It makes these characters and the story feel one of a dozen instead of one of a kind. And so people start to not care. If instead, in Chaos Reigns, it was like Xiao's rebellion, and Titan Shang Tsung was the last Titan threat for now, then we would be fine. You know what I mean? Because yes, maybe it would be bad because Liu Kang should theoretically be able to like beat any threat that is that strong. But like ideally, Liu Kang wouldn't be going crazy and erasing people from existence. He would just want things to live the way they should be, like he says it should be. But again, Liu Kang is written in such a weird way because they have to like pick up the slack of them not making sense with their writing decisions, Dominic. And like it sucks. It sucks. So like from a story perspective, the game was like was destined to decline. It was destined to decline if they didn't just take it seriously and focus on the characters they introduced, which is exactly what they didn't do within Chaos Reigns, where they focused on a Titan level threat, a different timeline, all this kind of shit. Like really, like come on, like it just they didn't. It sucks. It fucking sucks. It hurts me. Like it actually hurts me. They don't realize this, but this also hurts their content creators, the people that literally put them on the map and make their game more popular by getting people to play it and buy it, are suffering as well from how bad this game is doing. You know what I mean? Like, you know, the proof is in the pudding. The proof is in every Mortal Kombat YouTuber has talked about the view decline and all that kind of shit. Like, it is real and it is bad. No one cares about Mortal Kombat 1 right now. The interest is so low, so low. And Chaos Reigns is a big part of that. The fact that the leak happened and killed all momentum this game had, even after Ghostface, is a big part of that. And the game launching in a state where people didn't even want to buy the game from the start, and it had such bad word of mouth for like the first year, and especially this year, you know, it's not going to help it. It didn't help it at all. Again, the story mode is something that's very important to me with this game, so I'm going to talk about that, but I think that part does matter, because if the story doesn't leave anything for people to really care about and talk about, that's going to kill the momentum of that too. Like, Mortal Kombat has always been known, especially in the NRS era, for its cinematic story modes and the characters and all of that. Like, that's what it was building. And that has issues, and so does the gameplay, as I've been saying this whole video. But like I said, the first part of the story I feel like was fine, but they completely killed it with Chaos Reigns. Like, now there's nowhere they can go. Like, it literally ruined it. I wish Chaos Reigns didn't exist. I wish Chaos Reigns didn't exist. Because if MK1 only had the base story, MK2 could have still been so good, like building off of these characters. It's so sad. But anyway, let's talk about some other MK1 issues. So I talked about the Chaos Reign stuff. We talked briefly about how the game launched very unfinished, and that's never, it feels like they've never been able to catch up from that. Like WB, I guess just doesn't give them time. Like I don't know if they're just like locked in the basement or like what is happening, because it feels like NetherRealm can't talk to us, which like this kind of started with MK11 where they just didn't talk to us. But like it feels like they can't talk to us and they also can't develop for their game. Like I don't get that part of it, because it's like I know that WB definitely controls like the prices, controls like the release windows and all that kind of stuff. But like when you do have time to develop something, it's not really a good excuse when you're still developing trash. Like you're still giving us bad stuff, bad content, not genuinely good things to play. There's no real end game thing to play. There's no crypt to like work towards to unlock things. Everything's seasonal now, and they've already ended invasions as like a game mode. And there's no incentive to keep playing. Like invasions, there's seasonal content to make you come back every season, can be beaten in one sitting, and then you have nothing to do for a month unless you play Combat League and like, you know, you just completely give your life away to playing Combat League, which like the netcode and the connection issues, that's another huge issue with this game, is it like never works. Like it never works. Rollback netcode and all that kind of stuff, like I don't know too much about that, but like it's good from what I can tell. But the account system on this game that they've made to make crossplay work and all that is absurdly garbage. Like verifying account restrictions. What the fuck is that? What even is that? Stop that. Can I own a game? Like can I own a game? Like they literally tell you in the terms of service, like you do not own this game. Like Mortal Kombat 1, you do not own it. I paid $110 for nothing, and then another 50 for Chaos Reigns for nothing. I don't own this. Like it's crazy. And these practices from WB really need to stop. And WB's greed definitely is, I think, a huge part of the killing of Mortal Kombat 1. But again, the characters being written the way they are, the game working the way it does, those type of things are on NetherRealm, and they need to like figure it out. They need to figure out what they want Mortal Kombat to be and what they want it to not be. Because right now, even if Chaos Reigns never released and the game just had Combat Pack 1 finished and the story mode of Part 1, and like I would say maybe even like take out the Titan Havoc post-credit scene, I would think that Mortal Kombat 1 is kind of good. Like I really do enjoy it, and I still do enjoy Mortal Kombat 1 or I wouldn't be making this video. For a lot of people, they think the identity of Mortal Kombat is gone, and I can see why they think that. Like it's a reboot that has a lot of soul taken out of it, especially when you get to Chaos Reigns and see their intentions, like what they actually care about, which is like this multiversal timeline garbage. Like no one cares. That's not Mortal Kombat. Like it's not. Like that part of it is not. And I've never argued against that. I've always been a huge advocate for they need to get the timeline shit out of here. Get it away. Take it out. They can do it, and they can do it right if they wanted to, but that's the thing. They don't care. They don't care to do it right. They don't care to make the multiverse cool. Every timeline is literally the same character in a different palette that you can unlock. Hey guys, you can unlock the palette. Isn't that kind of cool? No, it's not. It's not cool. I would like if the timelines were like distinctly different and didn't have the same characters in them, so that my timeline mattered. So that Liu Kang's timeline mattered. But it doesn't, because it doesn't. And I know that I'm like beating a dead horse, but goddamn, that horse needs to be beat. It needs to be talked about. What do you mean they thought they could make a Mortal Kombat game without Scorpion in it? Like the Scorpion. I mean, I guess with MK11, with him dying and stuff, I have some story theories that kind of make that feel better in my head. But again, I'm like a story enjoyer for Mortal Kombat, so I'm always going to think about theories and stuff to make it feel better in my head. Excuse my voice, by the way, I've been very sick, but I can see like why people don't enjoy it. I can see that, and especially from even a gameplay point of view, which for me, this is the first time where gameplay really does matter to me in terms of content, because normally I play the story mode and I just obsess over the story mode and the characters, play the game every once in a while. But this time I play this game every single day, every single update, I'm playing this game, and I see just how underwhelming it is. The lack of, there's no lobbies. Like guys, like what do you mean? I cannot get on this game and go play with my friends in ease of access. Like I can't in a fighting game, in a modern day fighting game that's supposed to be competing with games like Tekken 8, Street Fighter 6, and anything like ArcSys and these other companies are doing. It's supposed to compete and it can't. I can't even play in a lobby with my friends. I have to boot up a King of the Hill and pray to God that it doesn't kick me off because of stupid account restrictions where WB just thinks I don't own the game or something. It makes no sense. I'm just so distraught. It's so saddening because I feel like this game had so much potential if they actually cared and they actually wanted to make a good Mortal Kombat experience. But no, they rather gender swap beloved characters to make sure that Scorpion and Sub-Zero are beating the gay allegations. Like, I'm sorry, Kuai Liang is still a little fruity, Dominic. No matter what you do with Cyrax and Hanzo's wife, you're not gonna make Kuai Liang any less fruity. You're not. Even if you want to shove down our throat that Johnny still misses his ex that he didn't mention a single time in the main story after she left, it's not gonna make us ship Janshi any less. It's not. Like, just get your priorities straight. Know what Mortal Kombat is and then stick to it and evolve it. Don't try and be something you're not. And I feel like that's something that they've done with the story mode that has killed it like so insanely. And then even with gameplay, I think Mortal Kombat 1's gameplay is my absolute favorite. Like, I could play MK1 forever. I love cameos. I love the way the combos work in this game. I love air combos. I love it. I adore it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I will never like understate that. I love the gameplay of this game. And that's why the fact that we basically have soft confirmation or like a leak, I guess, that the game isn't getting any more support, it's like, goddamn, like you guys had a great foundation here that you could have just built well if you had a competent writer and developers that cared and a publisher that wasn't literally like working you to the bone or whatever they're doing, whatever WB is doing, because it's like the biggest mystery that no one can fucking answer. What is WB doing? What is WB? What are they? What are they doing? Like, can someone explain it? Like, it literally makes me go crazy because what do you mean we just always have to be like, oh, it's WB. Oh, it's NRS and WB. Oh, it's NRS. Oh, it's WB. Like, what is it actually? Like, can we see? Can Ed Boon DM me on Twitter and just explain it to me? Dude, I'm not gonna leak your information. Like, bro, tell me. Talk to someone. Like, are you locked up, Ed Boon? I don't get it, and it's frustrating because I love Mortal Kombat with all my heart. It's becoming harder to just be a Mortal Kombat fan. Like, goddamn. What? Like, this video was directed in the beginning, and I had like ideas, but now I'm just all over the place because it hurts me so bad. So just in short, did Chaos Reigns play a big part into killing it? Yes. Did the loss of identity that a lot of casuals loved in Mortal Kombat have to do with killing it? I'd say yes. Did the timeline stuff have to do with it? Yes. The gameplay not being that great? Yes. The monetization? Yes. The unfinished nature of the game, there's no content, there's no end game, like all of that, yes. Like all of that played into killing Mortal Kombat. And that's why the Mortal Kombat 1 situation is crazy. Because we are in a situation where one of the biggest gaming franchises, like the literal reason the ESRB is created, is now the laughingstock of the fighting game community because of the state that it's in. Don't even get me started about talking about like Final Combat and pro competition and like those things and like how the meta has been in this game. Because like you don't even want to go there. We already know that shit. We already know how NRS does their balancing. And thankfully we do have a pro competition announced. And I hope that, so Ed Boon did say this, guys. We need to talk about this too. Ed Boon did say this with Chaos Reigns releasing that this game's gonna have multiple years of content. This game's gonna get updated. There's gonna be cameos, guest cameos maybe even. Like, he's teased so much. And yes, I know WB's word goes above all of that, so even if Ed Boon had 6 story expansions for 6 years of Mortal Kombat 1 planned, it doesn't matter when WB pulls the plug, and I understand that. I understand that. Like, trust me, I do. But like, you gotta stop lying, bro. Like, you gotta stop lying. Like, not only did he say MK1 would not be a sequel to MK11, which literally the final boss of the main story is Titan Shang Tsung from the end of MK11. Can we please talk about that, chat? Stop jumping me about that. Like, guys, that is a problem. They need to stop lying. Ed Boon saying that the game's gonna get years of support and only for this to happen. Stop making promises you can't keep. And I know that's not their fault. I know that's WB's fault, but still. If you know you're underneath the worst company of all time, then don't make the stupidest decisions of all time and do what you can. There's obviously glaring issues. Chaos Reigns, I fucking hate you. I hate Chaos Reigns. I hate what it did to the game, but I love Noob Saibot and I love Cyraxia. Like, that's the thing. I love certain things. And I just love Mortal Kombat too much. Like, that's why my reaction of Chaos Reigns is taken down off the channel. Why? Because my reaction was wrong. I was head over heels in love with Chaos Reigns when I first watched it. Why? Because I obsess over this game. Every day, all I do is talk about this game, all I do is play this game. So when something new came out and it was new story mode above all else, like you guys know I love the story mode, I was like literally in love. Because any new content with characters I enjoy, I'm going to eat it up. I'm going to eat it up. Like, I'm happy, I'm getting full, yes, thank you, more please, more please. But when my goal is to analyze characters and I came to Chaos Reigns, I was like, oh, oof, I can't analyze this. Dominic doesn't know how to write. Oh my god, I'm scared, I'm lost. Like, you know what I mean? I couldn't do it. There's literally a video on my members only right now where I was going to analyze Noob Saibot and Chaos Reigns, and I had to end the video because I can't analyze Chaos Reigns, I can't. It's fucking trash. It's garbage. It is horrible. Guys, I'm gonna lose my mind if I continue doing this video. Just, I'm so sad that Mortal Kombat is in the state it is. Again, I still play this game every day. I love the gameplay. It just hurts to know that they're not adding anything else after Conan and T-1000. Like, I'm gonna still play Conan and play T-1000, but if there's no cameos, no story, no invasion seasons, because like that's getting refreshed already, no shrine update, like they don't even update the shrine. Like I have like millions of coins I'm never gonna use because they don't even update this game in the bare minimum way they can. The only thing that they do is every patch, they're like, okay, here's the DLC character we promised that you already paid for. Here's a few skins, you guys have to pay money for that. And here's a tower refresh for free stuff that we're gonna sell in the store anyway after if you don't get it. Because we love FOMO. And you know what's the worst part about this? How I talked about the $110 I had to pay and then the $50 I had to pay because I'm a day one player and I want the stuff day one. Well, when Mortal Kombat 1 Ultimate comes out, if that ever comes out, because Chaos Reigns didn't even come out with a physical re-release as a digital only expansion, like, oh my god, we are in dystopia with gaming right now. We are in a dystopia. If they ever do re-release Mortal Kombat 1 as Mortal Kombat 1 Ultimate or Ultimate Mortal Kombat 1 or Mortal Kombat 1, whatever it's called, it's going to be cheaper and it's going to have everything in the game. Like, just be ready for it to have every single skin that has been in the premium shop maybe. Well, maybe not that, but maybe, you know what I mean? We're all of us that spent money to get skins in this game, it's going to be for nothing. They are the worst in terms of their core base of players that buy the stuff day one, that play the stuff day one, that they treat them the worst. And maybe that has to do with WB not caring because it's like greed and greed and greed regardless of player base. I feel like maybe NetherRealm feels like shit. Like I always love to think that NetherRealm probably feels bad in this situation and probably doesn't have all the control that they want to have. But at the same time, it gets to a point where it's like, goddamn, I blame everyone. I blame everyone at this point. Yeah, this video will never end unless I stop it now. Just Mortal Kombat 1 situation is crazy. This game is dead. It's dying. If it wasn't dead at the start of this year, it's definitely dead now. And unless Conan's update brings like lobbies, 10 free skins, Chipotle, like I don't know what they have to give me at this point to make me feel okay, but like, so, you know, I love Mortal Kombat more than anything. I'm probably going to continue to make Mortal Kombat videos in 2025 as the year goes on. I'm just going to make like different content. I've never seen a community die so quickly after the leak happened, or even like when the Combat Pack got released. Like, God, the community of this game has been through so many ups and downs, and mainly downs. But that's what it is. If you made it to the end of this yap, comment, say like, why Mortal Kombat 1, why, or something. Like, just let me know that you feel what I feel. Again, my channel was built mainly off of me loving Mortal Kombat 1, and I still want to cover Mortal Kombat as the future goes on, but I have to branch my content out. I have to. It's not sustainable to make YouTube be something I want to take seriously if I'm covering this godforsaken game. Thankfully, I can branch out to more Mortal Kombat stuff, and that's probably what I'm going to do. It just sucks that the newest, hottest Mortal Kombat game can't be what I talk about because the devs don't care, the publisher doesn't care, and frankly, the community doesn't care either, and I can't even blame them for that. But I appreciate you guys so much for watching, ladies, gentlemen, and NB beauties. Thank you so much for giving me this community that I have, this channel that I have. Thank you for watching my Mortal Kombat content. You did literally give me what I wanted to do, which was talk about Mortal Kombat and share that with people, and I got to do that. And I appreciate you. And none of us could have anticipated what NetherRealm and WB were going to do with this game, and that just hurts me to my core. I could cry. I'm not shedding no tears for fucking Warner Brothers. Get out of here. Thank you guys for watching. Be safe. Bye-bye. Drink some water. Drink some water, by the way. Drink some water. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.